with the use of first-party data, knowing that we can measure the sale and we can measure a plethora of other metrics too, how can a company or a small to medium-sized business use first-party data to gain that competitive advantage and improve not only their sales metrics, but their attribution and their form fills and their conversion rate? What are some suggestions that you would give to a client who's saying, great, I've got all this first-party data, but now what do I do with it? Jenny, do you want to kick that one off?
Sure. The conversations that I have with our clients a lot of times, right, especially if we're not just looking at the sale as like the holy grail, right, the conversions as that endpoint, is that there's a lot of other stories to be told when you have access to first-party data, right? So we talked about things like the buyer journey, right? Understanding how the users interacting with the business, with the site, what their behaviors are. And I think that there's a lot of value to be had in that when you dig into those insights and you find the story there, that I think you open up a larger margin of that audience to figure out how they're operating and how they're making decisions, and then have that ultimately, result in, maybe more sales or more interactions for the business. So I think when you have that level of insight and you can see pretty transparently, right, like what is driving that first-party households to your site, right? Those external marketing efforts that are kind of getting people there in the first place, and then kind of take it a step further and understand how they're interacting with the site, that you can then really fine-tune things along the way.
Claudia, do you have anything to add on that?
Yeah, I think that Jenny explained it beautifully. I think that you can also enhance customer experience. I think first-party data can be used to optimize, your customer experience through, a lot of things like identifying their pain points, their preferences, areas for improvement, and all of this can ultimately increase their satisfaction and your customer retention and get them to come back.
Yeah. And Will, I'll ask you in a second too, but you made me think of there's just so many other things that are wins along the way. Outstanding returning customers, households that have multiple purchases, households that have multiple visits or months of visits on a website or clicking on ads nonstop and reading blogs. Those are things that are still fantastic metrics that would not be measured with a sale necessarily. There's still a win. And to Jenny's point about, a process or a buying process that takes longer, someone who's going to be mulling over something for months, you're not going to see that sale right away and count it as a win because it's still kind of percolating, which relates to our breakfast brunch.